So what's up, Will?
All right, let me start with I missed you today, man.
Yeah.
All right, so we did a gig last week.
Yes.
2 days last week. You were working as a... It was way more than an assistant. Like, you were basically my DP, and I was just shooting and, directing a little bit.
Yeah.
And it was a giant pain in the balls to not have you there. I got to tell you. Lugging all this shit as a one-man show and setting up all this shit as a one-man show was a giant pain in the ass.
It's crazy, man. The amount, just that amount, like you said, the time to sit and do all of that. And even when we were doing it before, because we were setting it up nice. We were setting up nice shots, so it takes time to do that. So I can imagine.
And even... and that's the cool thing with our dynamic when we work is like we've joked about it at weddings where if we didn't want to, we don't have to talk to one another and the job would still get done. We know exactly what we need to do. So for the most part, you know exactly what I'm looking for lighting. Yeah. And we can just talk about it in the car ride and it just gets done. Yeah. So even though I knew exactly what I was looking for with lighting and exactly what I was looking for with the shot, still a pain in the balls because I had to do all of it. Like I had to set up the light, and when you were there and it was the two of us, I can just set up the shot and you can set up the light. And you were doing it exactly how I wanted. And I didn't even have to say anything. And then I can just set up the shots and it was all well and good. Yeah. So, today was just, it took so much longer than it should have. Yeah. I think.
Half day, full day?
It was a half day, but it was like a 40-minute build out. Just to like build up the set.
Jeez.
It was 2 lights, a boom. Yeah. 2 cameras. Yeah. So, I mean, there was a lot of C-stands, a lot of lights. Yeah. And then lugging all that shit. It was raining.
Oh yeah, it was.
It was raining.
Where'd you guys had to do it inside?
Hartford. Well, we did it in Hartford. It was down, and then we went to West Hartford.
At that same place?
No, it was her sister's a lawyer.
Oh, okay.
So it was it was right. It was actually near the courthouse.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
nice. But still, it's funny when you don't realize just the importance of, call it a production assistant or just an assistant, someone to just, I guess you call it a production assistant because it's a production, but just someone to carry stuff in. Yeah. Just that alone.
It was funny. I had Jeremy who, so for context people, Jeremy is the marketing director for Goodwill, who is my client, but he's also the producer of this. He was lugging shit in with me today. Yeah. And it was funny. He was like, there was nothing about your job I envy about you. And it's so funny because we talked about this in the car ride last time, and I know you talked about it on your podcast where, everyone loves the glory of the shit we do. But the fucking job... Right. Like the job part of it, no one wants to do that shit. Or no one gets to see it. No. But just lugging just giant cases of stuff and Pelican cases and those heavy ass bags and just like trying to make one trip or loading in your car or denting your fucking car because your C-stand hit the side. Right. Like, all that shit, like no one sees that. No.
And it's funny too because people almost do see it. But they forget, like people will post behind the scenes and like, oh, look at that cool behind the scenes. Look at all this setup. It's like someone had to bring all that stuff in. Someone had to set all that stuff up. Yep. And that's not the glamorous job, but that's an important, crucial job. Like a grip, like being able to like set up light and have everything like exactly where it needs to be. And like if you need to adjust it, like knowing how to do that without having everything completely collapse, like all of that stuff, man, just basic functions of a gig. Are huge, but it's like, no, man, I want to shoot. I want to edit.
I want to shoot. I want to do this for a living.
Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah, right.
Why not just like live the glory days as the hobbyist? Right. Like that's the dream.
That's where it's fun. The responsibilities at a minimum. You don't necessarily have to worry about the pressure of a client or people like breathing down your back and not anything like that. I mean, it's cool, but it is also, it's a job.
No, it is cool to say you get to do this for a living, and it is a good job, and I love this job.
Yeah, it's
awesome.
I
wouldn't want another job.
Agreed.
But it is a job. Yeah. And, no matter how much creative liberty you have in certain gigs, like there's always a job there, and you have to respect the fact that you're paid to be there. Someone paid you to be there. So respect that and do the job. Yeah. There is always a job to do.
Yeah. Speaking of which, I'm going to use that as a segue to do my actual intros. Hey, everyone. It's the Steve Walter Photo Podcast, Season 1, and today we have with us Will Talamelli. Doesn't need an introduction, but we'll give him an introduction. I should say that for every guest, so that way they feel important and special. But seriously,
I seriously need an introduction.
Yeah,
who the fuck knows
me? So Will, we've been working together 5 years?
It's been a while. Almost 4. It's been a while.
Quite some time. We've been working together for a good amount of time. I met you through the Erector Square building here, where we're recording this through Matt. And yeah, this is. I mean, we should have done this interview a while ago, but I'm glad we're doing it now.
For sure, me too.
So, tell the audience, because I know, but even still, I don't know fully your complete background. How did you get started in art? Because this is Everything is Art, right? That's season 1. So here's what I'm doing to throw people off. I'm doing season 1 and season 2 in tandem, because why not? It's my podcast. I could do what I want. So season 2 is going to be more topical based. Season 1 is still kind of more like interview based. Mm-hmm. So we're going season 1 here. Because in your background, you have a fine art degree.
Yeah.
How did you get started in art? Like go back to young Will.
Oof. All right. So
sorry, we just different.
Yeah, no, I talk about this a lot, and I'm going to go forward and then I'll go back.
Cool.
I never thought I was born into like the right area. Okay. I lived in this part. I'm from Seymour, Connecticut.
Yep.
So I'm from the Valley.
The Valley.
I lived on a street called Johnson Avenue, and I lived on Johnson Avenue Extension. All right. So I'm this kid that rode BMX bikes.
Yeah.
I never had an interest in like team sports. Like I'm like such a poster child for only child.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm in this and those two, like they're into like hunting and sports.
Yeah.
And like alcoholism and like just like I would never, when I mean like I didn't fit in, like I was just like, I don't know. I don't know where I came from in that. So when I went to college and I heard about, had to read Being in Time and Philosophical Anthropology and this by Heidegger, this idea of thrownness.
Yeah.
Where like you're thrown into your environment. You have no choice. You're just in there.
Okay.
I'm like, yo, thrownness applies to me. This dude is talking to me. So I've just always been into it. And it's funny too, because my dad was this really burly guy. He was a foreman of jobs. He was a brilliant carpenter and, like contractor, but an amazing artist. He had this crazy like dichotomy to him where he was this burly, hardworking Italian Vietnam vet, just crazy ass dude that was a brilliant artist that could draw anything, that could paint things, that could sing on pitch perfectly any song.
Dope.
All the time, and just like would crush Motown tunes.
Yeah.
He was this such an obscure like duality to this guy.
Right. And
I always loved his art. I love seeing him as an artist. I love seeing that side of him more than like just that other side. Right. So I kind of just always gravitate towards that. And I've always liked creators. I always liked people that made things, like something from nothing. That's kind of the heart of what art is.
And that's what I want this to be about too. Is that's kind of the foundation of this. Is that creators, whatever they're creating, if they're creating something out of a piece of wood or metal or pen and paper. Yeah.
I've always like obsessive people too. People that are just really focused and honed in. So. How this actually led to me filming is a completely different deal, but like that's what led to my love for art.
Yeah.
And any sort of like an artistic lifestyle was I loved the something from nothing.
Yeah.
That's my first career as a chef.
Ah, right.
That was the biggest.
About that. Yeah.
That was the biggest appeal. So when we can get to that. I think that's a little bit down the road.
So you're right. Young Will, your dad's an artist, so it's in your blood. Then that's what's cool. I didn't realize that it's straight up in your blood.
Yeah, and
that's cool.
When I was always into riding BMX bikes.
Yeah.
So at the time when I was riding BMX, it was a lot of that community shared my mentality, and that's what made me love BMX even more. Was that people that were like me. There was no one like me in my school, really. There was no one like me in like my household or like that family area. But when I read BMX magazines and you interviewed pros, it was like, oh, these people think like me.
Yeah.
And then when you go to skate parks out of town, you meet people and you're like, oh, these people are kind of like me.
Right.
And then
that second family.
But at that time, art was such a huge part of BMX. There was such a cool culture to BMX bike riding. Excuse me. where the magazines would like feature like, you know, rider art, like fan art.
Oh, cool.
The sponsored writers would make the graphics for their frames and their stickers and all that. Like it was such an art based sport, for lack of a better word.
Yeah.
It was really, really cool. And that was just another layer to me loving art and me trying to be more creative and artistic and understanding, you know, artistic outlets and creativity. It was really that was really important to me.
That's cool.
If I wouldn't be who I am if it wasn't for BMX, because I would have never touched a camera if it wasn't for BMX.
Oh, right.
That's how it all started.
That was the segue.
Was because I started filming. We all filmed each other.
Right.
And we all liked filming, and and eventually we all wanted to get good at it.
Right. Right, because you're watching videos. I'm sure you did very much what I did when I was skating, was that you would sit down with your friends, you'd watch a video, and then you'd go out and ride.
Yeah.
Like that was, you got all amped up. You're like, oh, look at that cool shit. I could never do that. Or at least me, I could never do that, but let's go try.
Yep.
Yeah. You just get pumped up.
Almost everyone in my circle. I mean, you mentioned Matt Branscombe in the beginning of this.
Yeah.
You know, that guy's getting flown around all over the world to take photos. He started photography with BMX photography.
Yeah. That's cool, man. Yeah, to think that was the connection. Just riding bikes, you know, something that what's funny is that, right. Something that I think now as a parent, right. Cause we're dads. I think as a parent, like you would watch your kid and be like riding your bike, like cool. Yeah. You know, you're hanging out with your friends, or, you know, it could be quote unquote a waste of time. You're riding this bike. It's like, no, I'm being inspired right now. You don't necessarily recognize that, that impact and the influence that it has on you.
I'm part of a community.
Right.
I'm part of a culture. I'm part of a movement. It's so much bigger than just riding bikes.
Right.
Riding bikes. I don't remember any of the fucking bike riding.
No,
I remember the times in the van. I remember the times in the car. I remember the trips, the jokes, the ball breaking, the shenanigans, like the dumb shit we did as kids. Like all those great memories. And now I have family all over the globe. I can go anywhere I want, and I have someone I can call or message, and I can stay there because of 20-inch bikes.
Because of riding bikes. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's cool, though.
Like that's what's cool about it. It's not even like the bike riding.
Right.
Which was awesome. It was always fun, but like I don't remember the stuff.
That was just the carrier to bring you through those experiences.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I remember like driving in Woodward, Pennsylvania, going 60 miles per hour on a main drag and ripping the e-brake and seeing how many times my car would spin and just doing like with a car full of BMX boys just amping each other up.
Sure,
not like,
right.
Yo, if you hit a dry spot, you're going to die.
Right. No, none of
just
that.
Just like,
do
it again.
Do it. Yeah. You won't do it. You won't do
Go
it.
70.
Right.
Like,
that's funny. So that was how you started filming through there, right?
Yeah.
Do you remember the first cameras you were using to film? Not that it really matters, but I'm just kind of curious.
Oh, I definitely don't.
Something with a nice wide angle lens, though, I imagine. Did you guys do fisheye?
Of course.
Yeah, you got to do that fisheye.
Giant fisheye.
Giant fisheye, real close.
Oh, I really can't. I really don't know. I mean, obviously a VX was somewhere in there.
Okay.
Like, you remember those, the Sony VX?
Yep.
Like, that's...
Yeah.
And people still shoot on those.
It's funny, man, because there is such a specific... Like, people that shoot that stuff, right? BMX and skating, and I imagine probably scootering is another thing that people shoot. But, like, that style of shooting, right? You almost want a specific setup, right? The handle on top that you can kind of ride down nice and low or kind of pick up a little bit.
Yeah, and I mean they've made rigs and everything that you can do that with, like, you know, modern cameras and.
But you're not rolling around with a Ronin, like you would currently.
I mean, some guys are.
I guess some guys do,
but I mean, yeah, but it's just like that VX. If you want that 4.3, that VX, that look, that original skate video,
4x3, that's so good.
Almost like Toy Machine, Welcome to Hell, like that look.
Yeah,
you know, some of those skate videos that like change games. Like if you want that. VX is it, man.
That's what
VX
you do.
Is,
that's cool.
I think that's probably the only camera I remember. Before that, I don't know. Oh, man.
But so you guys were shooting all the time. You guys would go out and ride. You shoot. You're filling up tapes. You're ingesting it. And that's, I would imagine, how you first started editing, too. Like, because now you got to start. You're watching what people do.
Yeah.
And then you're starting to learn, like, okay, well, what makes a good edit? What makes a dumb edit? That kind of thing, right? You emulate. And we've talked about this, too. We've talked about this so many times, was that, like, hey, when you're getting into something, observe what someone's doing, reverse engineer it, and then make it your own. right?
Well, that's if you look in the hierarchy of education and information, like that's always it. Like,
that's it.
Make new content from content absorbed.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, what did they do? I like what they did. How'd they do it? Okay, I'm going to make it mine.
Yeah. How do you exactly?
Yeah. So I imagine you guys were doing
make new information from information.
Mm-hmm.
But all right. So I don't even remember editing BMX videos.
No.
Like I can't tell you if I know I did.
Right.
But I can't tell you what I put out there.
Sure.
So there was like a second wave of it after I got into cooking, and that's when I bought a camera again and really got into editing.
Oh. So there was that overlap of BMX and cooking?
So I stopped riding bikes. So it's weird. So I mentioned my dad earlier.
Yeah.
And it's weird how tragedies sort of just shape your life. And so after my dad passed away, my interest in bike riding just kind of went away.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know if it's associated or not.
Right.
I'm not a psychologist, but
it just fizzled out.
It just fizzled out. I was playing a lot of music. I was gigging a lot as a bass player.
Right, and that's another element. We'll talk about that.
But I was playing a lot, and like bike riding, I felt like it kind of like ran its course.
Yeah, it served its purpose, right?
And then it showed up later, which is always funny too, because I always feel like something was missing. I mean, I did so many other stupid fucking hobbies, and it was like until bike riding came out, like so many things came and went. Like I got really into bowling.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I'm really shitty at it.
I think don't you have a custom ball?
Yeah.
All right, I think I did know that.
Yeah, I have my own ball, my own shoes.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, everything.
Nice.
Yeah. For being really bad at it.
Dude rolls up to the lane with his ball. Oh, look at this guy with an engraved ball. And you're
with my ball and shoes to
can't hit a strike.
Suck.
No. That's a funny.
Yeah.
Knocked down with just 4 pins.
Yeah, it's seeing someone stall a Porsche. like they don't know how to fucking drive it.
Sweet Porsche guy. Yeah, I know, right? Yeah. Idiot. So bowling, right? But so BMX overlapping with cooking. So
all right, so I went to school and I went to Albertus Magnus, and I really didn't know what I wanted to major in. So I just went to the art program. That's one thing I like, one thing I was decent at. I had no idea what I wanted to do. I can go on for hours about how an 18-year-old shouldn't make life-changing decisions.
No.
The pressure you put on a kid when you go into college.
Right.
Like, whatever you want to do. Go. What do you think you want to do when you grow up?
Yeah.
I don't know. You're a fucking child.
Yeah, for the next 45 to 55 years, what do you want to do? Figure it out now.
Yeah.
Cool. And even that's a whole other conversation, because that's almost like you don't do that anymore. You do so many different things.
Oh, I can talk about that forever.
I mean,
it's just crazy that people put that type of pressure on a child. And I'm going to call an 18-year-old a child.
Yeah.
They're absolutely a child.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Totally. So you're doing art.
Yeah, so I just did art, and how was I going with this? All right, so that's how I got into cooking. I've always cooked, and I've always liked cooking. It always kind of came naturally. I worked at a coffee shop while I was going to college. The cook called out sick that day, so I just jumped in and cooked.
Oh, okay.
I just made all the food that day, and immediately it all made sense to me. Just tickets lining up and prioritizing and putting stuff out first. It just the dance of line cooking made sense, and I liked it.
Yeah.
And I just did it. And then the more I got into food, the more I realized it was so closely aligned with art.
Yeah.
Everything about it.
It
was structure, technique, formula.
Yeah.
Repeat.
Yeah.
And then all the sensory elements were there, and then you had taste and smell.
Right.
Like, that's something you never get from a painting.
Right.
Or art. So at the very, most art at the highest sensory level you can hear.
Right.
On top of looking at it.
Right.
On top of seeing, maybe you could hear it or touch it.
Right.
But you can never really smell it,
can't
taste
smell
it.
Can't taste it. So to be able to have
do
all of that,
two elements, then that kind of Zen notion that it's here and it's gone, and it's something from nothing.
Ah, yeah.
Cool. Every dish starts from from like nothing, from just raw elements.
Yeah.
And then you make it. And that's so much like a painting or a drawing or any form of art. It's art. That I was so attracted to that part of it.
To think that started in like a coffee shop.
Yeah.
Or at least that experience, that exposure of.
Yeah, a coffee shop
cool.
run by two stoners
that were like, dude, we need you to cook because the dude called out. And you're like, all right, fine, I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
And you did. And then that became a passion.
Yeah, and I always loved cooking. I mean, I had two working parents. So I remember cooking dinners. I remember being 12 years old, being home alone, cooking dinner for both my parents, and they came home to like fully cooked meals.
Thanks, Will.
I was cooking. Like I mean, I don't know. Times have changed now, but like I can't imagine. I would really want like when my daughter's 12 to like turn on the grill by her own and like sharpen knives and cut shit and like like it was just different. I had good parents. It was just different. Then, it was a while. Like, it was 20 years ago. It was,
Yeah, that's nuts. So let's do this. Let me take a break real quick.
Yeah.
And then we'll come back. We'll keep talking about cooking, art, and then the transition into what was next.
Yeah.
So I have a Patreon page. For those that are interested, patreon.com/SteveWalterPhoto. It is a way that people can help contribute to what I'm doing. There's different rewards as far as different tiers of rewards so that you get access to the podcast early or you get access to the behind the scenes. We're going to do a photo shoot later. And then you even get access to some of the tutorials that I make. So for those that are interested, please feel free to contribute and help out. And thank you guys so much. Big shout out to...
This is work.
This
is work.
It is work.
No one wants to work for free.
It definitely is work.
There's fucking lights.
I got it lit up real nice.
Cameras. There's microphones. You think this shit's free? Contribute.
Thanks, Will.
Yeah. You know what? I feel like sometimes you gotta get a little aggressive.
You gotta do it.
I talk about this weekend. We'll talk about this with weddings. There's got to be a goddamn elf in the room sometimes. You know what I mean? You gotta
yeah. I want to shout out Zach, Mel, and Mike. Thank you guys for contributing and helping out. It's greatly appreciated. Scott as well.
Zach, Mel, and Mike. Thanks for having some class.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Nice. Good people. Them's good peoples.
They're good people.
So Will, so last we were talking about art. We were still talking about cooking and how that kind of transition, right? You were working at a coffee shop.
Yeah.
Cooking,
and then
you
I
got
into
inspired.
Cooking, and then, so that led to me really thinking about, I'm in college. We talk about this, like, you don't know what you're doing when you're in college. And I never had a passion for anything like I had for food. And I'm like, well, I think I see a job in this. I think I see a career in this. So I did a chef apprenticeship while I was going to college.
Cool.
I really like stretched myself super thin in college. At one point I was going to two colleges. I went to Albertus Magnus and I went to Pear because I didn't think the art program was good enough at Albertus. So I went to Pear and I was doing all sorts of shit. Again, like, that artist mentality. You always want to one-up yourself.
Sure.
And then there's the last couple of years of college, like the last 2 years, I was apprenticing to be a chef while I was going to school. So I would go to school and then just go right to the restaurant, change in my whites and go to work. And that was it. And like, I had a real job. And like, most people kind of finish college and then they go look for a job.
Yep.
I remember graduating college and then doing my night shift. Like,
right.
I had responsibilities at a shift, and like I was getting a promotion soon. Like I was gonna run a kitchen.
Yeah.
Like in a couple months, if I like kept doing the right thing, like I was gonna get promoted to sous chef. Like I was.
That's cool.
I knew what I was. It was kind of funny that like I had like a career already, and I was working towards a career while I was in college.
Yeah.
It was kind of funny because there was no culinary program there. Yeah. So like the professors didn't respect it.
Right. No.
They're like, dude, you're just cooking. I'm like, no, I'm not just cooking.
That's cute.
Like, I'm making real food.
It's a different type of art, guys. Don't you get that?
And that was the thing though too. Like I was like really into it. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And I was making great food. And I mean, we can skip past it, but like we can kind of fast forward like my whole career. But like I ended up getting 4 stars in the New York Times.
Yeah, that's dope.
In New Haven, it's a little bit easier
big deal
to get than in New York. But like,
sure,
I'm the youngest person in Connecticut to ever get it.
Yeah,
and I was one of 3 in New Haven at the time, and it was Union League and Olia, and those are 2 bad motherfuckers as far as like
that's freaking awesome.
So like, you know, I put in the work, and I was doing it. Like I was not like just fucking around cooking.
No,
like just like working a fryer. Like I was.
Oh yeah, that's cute. Yeah,
yeah. No,
you making
like,
eggs?
I was cooking. Yeah, man. Like I was changing shit.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But eventually, I mean, if anyone has ever cooked, anyone knows the restaurant job, it's a brutal job.
Yeah, working in a kitchen's rough. Even just from my experience for those, and I think we've talked. You know, I worked as a prep cook. I started as a dishwasher, worked my way up to prep cook. Did some line cooking for a while. I was like, nope, not into this. I literally didn't like people screaming at me.
Yeah,
and I was like, nah, I'm gonna go back to the fryer.
I mean, the hours are terrible. Mm-hmm. You know, you don't have weekends. You are the weekend. Mm-hmm. You know, you get Monday.
That's when people go eat, man.
Yeah. You don't get nights.
Nope.
You know, you don't get time with, you know, if you have a girlfriend or whatever, like whatever it is, you don't have time with her. You don't have time with people that you care about.
Right.
You barely see your friends. You barely have a life. And that's what led me to buying a camera and filming again. There was one day when I realized I had just put everything into cooking.
Yeah.
I put everything into it. And I'm like, I'm just chained to a stove. I don't do anything other than cook.
That's it.
I wake up, I go to work, I go home, I sleep, repeat.
Yeah.
That is it.
Yeah, that's rough.
And so I had like 2 breaking points. I started riding my bike again. And the only time I can do it was after work. So I'd get out at like 10 o'clock at night. Yeah. And I'd go ride with my boys to like midnight, 1 in the morning.
Yeah.
Go to sleep, wake up, you know, tired. And then go still do a 10-hour, 12-hour shift.
Yeah.
And then repeat. No, I'd have to be at work at 10 a.m. You work a double, man. That's it. So I would work a double, go ride, do the same thing.
Just do it again.
Just keep doing it. Yeah. Keep doing it. And that was cool, but I realized I'm like, I really don't do anything. I've got nothing. Like I'm chained to this fucking stove. I don't do anything. Like I need something else. I need some form of creativity because like, you know, creatively too, like you're getting, you know, there's only so much you can do in restaurants sometimes. You have to deal with the demands. Oh, this was the recession too.
Oh, perfect.
So you couldn't just go huge, and you couldn't do whatever you wanted in the restaurant anymore. You couldn't just you had to just put what people wanted.
Right, as far as creating a menu, right.
Yeah, it was a real bad time to be creative as a chef because people were not spending money and they were not taking chances with their money. Yeah. If they went out, they just wanted to get what they knew they would enjoy.
Something safe, yeah.
So if you were going to put stuff on the specials, like if you got creative, you had to be really careful about how you were creative. Yeah. And this was a real thing. I mean, iconic restaurants in Manhattan were closing left and right. Yeah. Me and my boss would go in Manhattan, and sommeliers would do auctions for the wine on the table.
Jeez.
They would literally be like, just make me an offer.
Right.
Like a $500 bottle of wine. Sure. Could go for like $1.25.
Sure. Just because, hey, we got to move this wine.
Because no one is coming in.
Right.
And some money is good.
Right. Like we have this wine. Do you have a price list and menu? No. What do you got in your pocket? Mm-hmm. What's good? Yeah. What's good?
Yeah. Shit like that. So like
a couple hundred. Okay. Cool. We'll do it.
So there was a time frame where like creatively, I as a chef, I had to kind of like slow down a little bit. Like I couldn't buy whatever I wanted. I couldn't do all these things. Like, and even if I bought like something inexpensive, like just say, I don't know, calf's liver or oxtail or beef cheeks or something that like one of those scrap cuts that is kind of like a delicacy, but it is relatively inexpensive to buy. Yeah. Couldn't really do that because people...
Still risky.
It was risky.
Yeah.
You had to buy and cook what would sell. It was a recession. So if people were going out, they weren't taking chances on shit.
No
one was excited to be like, oh, I got this, and I was like, kind of on the fence about it. No, they were like losing their fucking mind about it.
Right.
So if they weren't cool with what they got, they would want like a $50 gift card. The restaurant. It was like this whole thing. So that was going on. It was like the worst time to be a chef.
So if anything, it was a good motivator, I would imagine, for you to then be inspired or to think about doing something else. Like you said, that's when you got a camera.
Exactly. And I was like, all right, so aside from the fact that I'm chained to a stove and I don't do anything for me. I don't have any other creative outlet, not even cooking anymore.
Right.
Because I have to, and it wouldn't matter if I went to a new restaurant.
No, you're just burnt out.
This was across the board. This was unanimous. Every place was freaking out, wondering if they were going to, I'm talking Union League, every place.
Yeah.
In New Haven, in Manhattan, in Hartford, every place was freaking out.
About shutting down, yeah.
About having actual asses in the seats.
Because people aren't going out and spending on dinners like they used to because everyone's got to tighten up.
No one. And when you see places, I'm not talking like popular places.
Right.
I'm talking iconic places.
Right.
Fucking New York City landmarks.
Yeah.
Closing their doors.
That's nuts.
Yo, that put a shiver down everyone's back. Like everyone was freaking out over
So
that.
if you're a nobody, joint in New Haven, Connecticut, it's like, yeah, we're curtains.
Or think about, I was running a joint. I was sous chef at this point. I got promoted to sous chef. So I was running a kitchen with 22 employees.
Yeah.
I mean, just a giant overhead. I mean, and the rent was $25,000 a month. Ooh. It was a giant parking lot. It was a huge building. Huge, and like,
yeah, a lot to lose at that point.
Yeah, and I was like, I didn't want to lose my job.
No.
It was a good job too. So it was like, so I had to like kind of eat that and not to be like, to our point where like, there's always a job in every creative field. Like, this is my job.
That was a job.
I had to just take the job part at this point.
Yep.
So I think I scraped together like $900.
Okay.
I got a T3i.
Oh yeah.
T3i with a kit lens.
That has a flip out screen? No, that didn't flip out. T3i.
Yeah, it did.
Did it flip out? That was one of the
T2i had the attached screen.
All right, so I was going to say that was the first one that flipped out then.
Yep.
Okay. So T3i, nice.
The Rebel.
Yep.
Rebel T3i.
I started on Rebel. Nice.
I bought that.
Yeah.
And I started making videos.
Dope.
I made a video for the restaurant. Of course. Put it on our Facebook. I made it for us, so it was like, look, we can just do promos, and it worked.
Yeah.
And people were really, really into it.
Yeah.
And yeah, we did a bunch of videos for the restaurant. And then that led to other restaurants
wanting you to do their videos. Sure.
Exactly. And then that led to eventually another business, an outside business, asking me to do their video.
So you're stretching yourself even thinner. You're working as a sous chef, riding BMX at night with your boys, and then now you're making videos for your restaurant and other restaurants, of course.
At some point, all right, listen, there's a lot we're missing here. At some point, I left that restaurant. I was running another one. I quit. I had like my whatever. But to just expedite shit, yes, I was still in the restaurant industry.
Yeah.
And I was making videos.
Hustling. Yeah, man.
Yeah, I was working real hard.
You're putting in the work.
And I mean, I do a lot of free gigs too, just to build a portfolio.
Sure, you have to, right? With any kind of thing.
And that's sort of point. Like when we talk about like when people contact us about like, hey, I'm thinking about make this job.
Yeah,
I wouldn't contact people. I would just go to businesses.
Yeah,
like, hey, look, I want to make a promo for you. You got nothing to lose.
Yeah,
I just want to see like I'm into what you do.
Yep.
Can I make a video?
Yeah.
Like, what do you have to lose? I'll do it for free.
Sure.
Let's just fucking do it.
What business? So I started season 2. I just did a solo podcast, and I basically took our conversation we were talking about and kind of summarized it into how to be a professional photographer. And I talked about people that reach out and say, where do I start? What do I do? And a lot of it is, hey, if you're getting into this, do something for your friends and family, right? Sit and say, like, whether it's a wedding or it's just a family portrait session, like, let me do this for free. Let me just do it for you because you trust me, you know me, and there's a lot less pressure, things like that. But even to your point, if you're reaching out to a business, what business is going to say no to free work? Now, granted, there's a risk involved. So if I'm a business owner and someone comes up to me and says, hey, I'm going to do this video for you, it's not going to cost you anything. other than my time and trust, right? Some dude's going to come in here and make a video. Maybe it's cool, maybe it's real shitty, and then it becomes either a waste of my time or something that's really good, right, and beneficial. So, yeah, that's how you do it. And even now, to that point, once you've established a portfolio, it's basically the same thing. Reaching out to someone and saying, "Hey, here's what I do. Here's what I could help you with. Here's what I charge." Versus starting out saying, "Here's what I could do. Here's what I could help you with, and I'm not going to charge you anything."
Yeah.
So you're doing that. So you're making videos for other businesses, right? Creating content for them. And is that like, as you're doing that, are you kind of still doing the same thing we were talking about before as far as emulating what you saw people doing, like whether it be BMX or anything, like kind of breaking down like, hey, here's how this worked well, let me try that kind of thing?
A little bit.
Yeah. But, and obviously putting your own flair on it too.
Yeah. I was really into, I know I moved a little bit.
Sorry.
I think I was really into a group of filmmakers called Still Motion.
Still Motion. Oh, that sounds familiar.
Yeah, I mean they built up a pretty good name.
Yeah,
they're good at what they do. I was really into them. I watched a lot of them. I watched a lot of Philip Bloom.
Yep, Philip Bloom. Yep.
So I think I definitely emulated a lot of that.
Just for his British accent alone, I liked watching his stuff. His reviews are fantastic.
Yeah.
Just for the accent.
So such a fucking monologuist.
Oh, he loves to talk.
Oh, dude,
he loves talking.
Yeah, if we're gonna sidetrack, if there's any motherfucker that loves someone more than that dude loves some Philip Bloom.
He loves Philip Bloom. Philip Bloom loves Philip Bloom.
Like. More than like Kanye loves
Besides
Kanye.
His cat Percy.
Yeah, that dude loves himself.
He does.
So hard.
And you know what? Good on him. Like, hey, you should love yourself. Everyone should love themselves, but he loves himself. Just here, I'm sure when he records, he's got headphones on. He's like, oh, this is a great voiceover.
Yeah.
Oh, this is a fantastic voiceover. Philip.
I've never sounded this good.
Philip, you're amazing.
Philip's having a great day.
Yeah. Definitely does it in the third person. Definitely does it in the third person. Philip, we're going to nail this review.
It'd be so good if he does this. Philip needs a slider right now.
Close up on Philip. Closer. Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah. Get as close as you can to Philip. Just really get in there.
The cat's just like, dude, what are you doing, bro?
Yeah, the cat is judging him.
Like, bro, what's like? You're weird.
This motherfucker loves himself.
Yeah.
I haven't got pet in 3 days. This guy's been like fucking grooming his beard every day.
Philip Bloom, dude. Yeah, so no, he's definitely
but he's super good.
He is.
Like you can't.
He's great, man.
He's super good.
He does stuff, and it's it's not going to necessarily be anything groundbreaking, but it's good, man.
It's good.
Like
that dude gets some real.
It's beautiful. The work he does is beautiful, even just for a review. Like when he takes out a camera, he gets shots that are interesting, compelling, and they're beautiful. Yeah,
and just like he. Just all of it. I mean, the guy has like a technical knowledge, too, that like it really is few and far between. I mean, the guy really does know his shit.
He knows his stuff. Yep.
And and aside from that, because usually it's I find it's usually one or the other.
Right.
Like someone's like really, really technically advanced, and or someone's like really great at shooting, and they don't really like get it. But like this dude is. I mean, he knows he's the whole package. Yeah, he's got everything, and the fact that he can just so fluently, he can do a tutorial while he's filming.
Right.
Like that portrait of a boxer, which I still think is one of the most beautiful things he's ever made.
Yeah.
The fact that he did a tutorial while he was doing that was that project was just to test the Sony FS100.
That's it. Yep.
And the fact that like he just did a shot-by-shot breakdown.
Yeah.
Every single time he did.
And what's funny is when like you watch other, camera like samples or reviews, it's literally just someone like filming like their street. And it's like, here's the camera in this setting. Here's the camera in this setting. Here's the camera in this setting. And it's like a 2-minute long video. You're like, you gave me nothing. I saw nothing. Versus a guy that basically makes a movie out of how to make a movie with this camera.
Made a short film. Like
he's making shorts. Yeah.
That's a short film.
He's making shorts out of a review, which is fantastic. Sorry, fantastic.
Yeah, dude, and that one is so good.
So you're watching Philip Bloom. You're getting inspired. You're shooting film. You're shooting film for restaurants.
And I'm getting gigs. And then Matt.
Yeah.
And then Matt Branscombe notices me. He notices the work I've been doing. And he likes it.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, he's like, I have a bride that wants some video of the day.
Yeah.
She wanted a couple shots of video. She's like, and he goes like, I don't have time to do that.
Nah.
Shooting a wedding. It's like, I'll give you $100.
$100, man.
Do you want to shoot it? And given all I had to do was shoot those couple things.
Right. You had like a checklist of shots you had to get.
I made like a 7-minute wedding video.
Dope.
Or like I shot it
for $100.
That fucking wedding video. Oh
right.
yeah,
for $100. And you hadn't shot in a wedding.
I've never shot a wedding before.
Cool. So you're presented with an opportunity. Hey, here's next to no cash, right? Arguably by today's standards, next to no cash, but
that's no cash.
Here's an opportunity,
yeah,
and you'll get something in your pocket, but your time.
It wasn't $100. It was he could have said nothing because I would have done it anyway.
Sure, but it was the experience. It was the opportunity to say, hey, come do this. Do you want to do it? And in your mind, you're like, yeah, I'm hungry. I want to do this. Mm-hmm. Not actually hungry, like you want to like get work.
No, yeah. No,
we were talking about food before, so I want to make sure no one knows.
Well,
everyone's clarified.
For me, that's a rap reference.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, you're hungry. Get hungry. Yeah. So you're hungry. You do the job. 7-minute video, right? A lot of work.
I think it was something like that. It was 2 songs.
Yeah, a lot of work.
Yeah, but I did it in like a couple of days. I mean, I was like so excited to do it.
Amped up,
like,
right?
I knew the songs I wanted to do because everyone used those 2 songs. I used like the 2 most popular wedding songs you could possibly get.
Yeah.
One of them was Ben Rector's White Dress.
Ben Rector, dude. That dude's crushing it.
We'll go back to him.
He's the music bed dude.
Yeah, but he said one of the best things for a working artist that I think every working artist should hear. So we'll get back to that.
Cool.
But yeah, I did that, and I sent it to Matt, and he was like, dude, I'm going to get you a lot of work.
Dope.
And he was like, I can't believe this is your first run. And
that's awesome.
But like, I knew what I wanted to do. And at that time, though, to some other conversation we had in my car, I was imitating, not innovating. I was not.
Sure. You weren't doing Will. You were doing.
I was doing wedding video.
Right.
If anything, I was doing Joe Simon. Like, because Joe Simon was the shit at that time. Like, that was like #1 dude in the wedding video game. But like, that was the standard. Like, that was the gold standard. Like, that's what you shoot for. But I wasn't thinking on my own. I wasn't like really like.
You're not breaking the mold, really.
Yeah, and now I do everything that is just like mine.
Right.
And now I'm very proud to say that my wedding videos look like mine.
It's your style.
And I don't think other people's wedding videos look like mine.
Right.
Like, I have my style. I have a look. I have something that is mine, and I'm really proud of that. That my brand has something that is its own.
Yeah, for sure. And that's what's going to make it Will Talamelli Films versus just something else.
I've told you this before, but it's good for the podcast. I want my watermark to mean something.
Right.
I don't want it to just be a logo, but I want people to know if they see that watermark in the front of a video, it means something.
Right.
It actually holds. There's some weight to it.
Yeah.
There's an expectation after that watermark.
Right.
That's my goal, and I think I'm on that track.
That's cool.
I think I'm there for the most part, but like I want to stay there, and I only want to grow, and I only want to get better.
Yeah.
So when people see that logo in the front of a video, I want them to be excited. I want them to be like, oh, we're going to see something good. And
that's hard to do, right? I mean, so many people talk about style, like finding your style. Mm-hmm. Like, that's a conversation that happens so often, and it's difficult, especially when you're starting out, for people to say like, what's my style? This is like the most cliche conversation, but I found that cliche things are real. And I know that's a cliche statement. And I've even said that many times, but it's like, you don't know what your style is until you eventually get to a point where you do it over and over and over and over. And then you kind of settle into a groove and say, here's where I like my vision to be. Then that becomes your style.
It's a really raw and honest thing to find a style.
Yeah, for sure.
Because
you can't force that. It just happens.
No, if you keep on forcing it, you're just going to keep on imitating.
Because you're just emulating, right? You're emulating, you're imitating. You can be attracted and drawn to things, but it still has to be yours. And it might be similar, but it takes time for you to be you. Mm-hmm. For sure.
Yeah. It takes time for you to figure out how you want to work.
Yeah.
How you want to present your product.
Yep. To
get away from fear.
Yeah.
You know, that it's scary to put like 100% of yourself out there. You know, to take what you perceive to be the proper product.
Yeah.
And put that out there.
Yeah.
You know, like in context of like wedding videos, right?
Sure.
When I was getting into it, like the Joe Simon video was like the gold standard.
That was a sought after. Yeah.
Right. And my videos are different than Joe's.
Yeah.
And I'm glad they are. And I actually know Joe.
Oh, yeah, dope.
He's a BMX rider.
Oh, full circle.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But I also didn't want my videos to look like his.
Right.
Because I don't want to be a Joe Simon copycat.
Nope.
Because there's so many of those. But like, also I wanted to have them to be my own. But like, you know, if that guy's the gold standard and mine are very different.
Yeah.
That can be kind of scary to put that out there.
Right. And you know? I think that's what it is it's the risk, and it's like anything else. Just a risk in anything is, hey, what if I fail?
And also taking on clients when you don't know who you are.
Right.
Like I was good enough to take on a client.
Yeah.
I felt confident enough to film a wedding and give a good product.
Yeah, you can figure it out.
But at the same time too, I didn't have a brand really.
No.
So that's scary. So like they hired someone that did this, and then now you're getting something completely else.
Something a little bit different, right?
Yeah,
your style might from wedding season to wedding season, or even wedding to wedding, it may be a little bit different or a lot of bit different because you're still exploring and experimenting.
And now I don't have a formula. And you know me really well. We worked next to each other for years.
Yeah.
I don't have a formula or a technique.
Yeah.
But I do have a style.
Yeah.
So you can, if you hire me, you know that your wedding video is going to be very unique to you.
Yep.
But you know it is going to look like something I made.
Yeah, for sure.
And it took a while to get there. I'm actually happy. I'm only on season 6 of filming weddings. So it didn't take that long.
Right.
But it did take a little bit to like kind of
happen in a year. Yeah.
It's never going to be your first year. Your first year, you're never going to do it. It's not going to happen.
No.
And you're going to fuck up royally in that first year. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like it's the first, like, we can do a whole other one on filming weddings.
I was going to say, yeah, I mean, we could like and I want to take another break, but like, I think the biggest thing when you're starting out with anything is failures are so important, or not. I shouldn't even say failures, mistakes, right? They're just learning opportunities. Mm-hmm. We'll call them that, educational opportunities.
No, absolutely, absolutely.
Like you need.
The only flaw in a mistake is if you don't learn from it. Like that's it. The only flaw is if like you don't take that as a learning opportunity.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna make mistakes. But now I actually pitch that.
Yeah.
To clients. They're like, "What's the deal with your price?" I'm like, "Well, one of them is." You won't have to deal with flaws.
Yeah.
I made all the mistakes.
Yeah.
All of them.
Yeah.
Like, don't worry, all of them.
Not going to be any hiccups.
Yeah, the big ones, I'm good. Yeah. I got that shit. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Yeah, dude, like, don't worry about that. Like, what happens when this and this? Yes, experience it. I know how to fix it. You know, that's not something you're going to get from...
No.
It's actually kind of funny, and I want, before we go on a break, I want to talk about this.
It's going to go off in a second.
Oh, is it?
So hold on, wait, we'll break.
Oh yeah.
And we'll pick right back up.
Was that really 28 minutes again?
Yeah.
Oh damn.
Yeah, this one's about to go. Beep 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 beep. Sounds good, man. Cruising. There it is. Set timer for 28 minutes.
Your timer is set for 28 minutes.
Oh, thanks, guy. So just another fantastic word from our sponsor. I want to take this opportunity right now to shout out my boy Tom for the intro music, Tom Lavery. Tom was on the podcast not too long ago. Tom's a fantastic guy. He just got this thing called the OP1. I don't know, because I know you're a musician. We'll talk about that. We have time to talk about that. We're going to pick up where we left off talking about mistakes. But he bought this little device. It's like this little keyboard I don't even know how to describe it. Programmable, like production little machine. It's this tiny little thing. It's like $1,000, but he's making some awesome stuff with it. So, Tom, my baby boy, thank you so much for the music.
Steve, I was thinking about this the other day. What's Tom's thing? Is it?
What's Tom's thing?
No, he only plays a telly.
Yeah.
Is it only the front pickup?
Yes. Yeah, he
That's
does. He's a neck pickup guy for sure.
Only neck.
Yeah.
All the time, right?
He wants that buttery, just, he wants that
round sound.
Yeah, no, no, I don't think he does the bridge much. He's not a bridge guy. He's a neck guy.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of all the times that I've played with him, which have been a couple times. He's usually a neck position guy. Tom, I'm pretty sure you're a neck position guy. Hopefully he listens to this, and I'll have that conversation with him. But yeah. So we were talking about making mistakes. You were talking about, hey, look, I'm priced this way so that way. I'm priced this way so that way. Hold on, let me rephrase that. You position the clients. I'm priced this way, right? You're paying for what you get.
What I say is part of the price is the fact that you don't have to worry about errors.
That amateurness is just out.
Yeah,
it's just out.
That
Seasoned.
you are actually paying for the professionalism.
Yeah,
and the fact that I can problem solve on the fly, and I'm actually equipped, literally equipped.
Backups on backups, dude.
As Steve can attest, I have 2 of everything.
You have to, man. For everything that you can, right? We've talked about that too. For everything that you can have 2 of, have 2 of them. Mm-hmm. Like you can't necessarily have 2 of the same lens. Like if a lens bumps out, but you have another lens that you could use, not the exact same lens.
There's always a backup plan.
Yes.
There's always another camera. There's always another. But as far as like cables,
memory cards, batteries, yeah.
Batteries.
Oh, dude, batteries.
Yeah. I can do 2 gigs back to back and not have to charge batteries.
Dope.
I can do that now.
You know what? That's probably a good rule of thumb to have, right? Like if you have to shoot 2 days in a row, whatever it is, whether it's photo or video, you should have enough batteries to do that.
Yeah. I mean, for
enough batteries and memory cards to shoot 2 days in a row without missing a beat.
For sure.
Yeah.
Without even thinking about it.
Yep. Just pop them in. Boom. I'm good. Cool.
Yep.
That's, going back to the other podcast that I have for season 2 was talking about being a professional. I think this is a good pickup from that is like, that's something that also defines a professional. Like no hiccups, I'm priced so that you're not getting those hiccups, but I could shoot 2 days in a row. I think that's a good defining factor.
Yeah.
So making mistakes, right? You have to make mistakes. You have to go through
You're
those
going
things because those are learning opportunities.
Philip Bloom said, and his words were, "You are going to fuck up.
You have to,
and you are going to fuck up royally.
Yep,
and just be ready for that.
And it's gonna suck.
I mean, dude, I've done.
It's gonna suck.
You've heard some of them. Like, I mean, I've had some massive fuck ups.
Yeah,
but I don't do them anymore. And
nope. Do them once.
Yeah, I do them. I do them once.
That should be it.
Yeah, obviously, there's always still hiccups and mistakes and shit, but like, they happen once.
One big fuck up, and then you go, okay, cool. That's never gonna happen again.
Yeah, of course.
Yep.
But yeah, and that's something I can say is, you look, when you hire me, you're hiring a pro.
Yeah.
At this point, you are hiring a pro. You're not hiring someone that's going to be like, like there's those little errors and those little things. Like I have solutions, or they're not going to happen.
Right. Working on the fly, and that's when you talk about
too, you have a style and you have someone. Have you worked with me enough? I mean, like what it's like to like work for me. Like,
well, even as a second shooter for you, like I know what to shoot, I know what not to shoot. Mm-hmm. I know that there are certain clips that if I shoot this, I'll look at shooting something. I'm like, there's no way he's going to use this. Stop doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
Like he won't use this. Don't do it.
Yeah.
So I know enough of how you assemble a story to say, this is useless, but don't waste memory.
The word he said to it too, it's like, I tell a story. I'm not, it's not a highlight of the day for me. And I think that's what separates my business a lot of times is like, I literally do tell a story. It's literally a story.
Yeah.
And I say this to like, I don't say to you anymore or anything, but if someone new in like the second shooter, I'm like, think of it as a performance and you're making a video of that performance.
Yeah.
Like if you're making a trailer for a movie, think of it like that. Don't think of it as like a wedding or something. Like think of it as like, what would get people to come to this movie?
Right.
What would get people to sit in this seat?
Like a promo. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a promo for a wedding. Yo, here's a promo for a day that already happened. Yeah. You're going to want to be there.
But like, think about that though. Like,
that's awesome. That's a great way to approach it. Yeah.
But I think that separates it. Where it's like, that's because it's not for the people that were there. They were fucking there.
They were there. Right.
It's for the couple and for everyone that wasn't.
Yep. Yeah, it's for right because the couple's overwhelmed. They're not paying attention to the day. It zips by. You know, it's a blur. So being able to relive that is awesome. But then for those that weren't there, like, damn, I wish I was there. Yeah, you should have been there. You should have been there. So talking about that, your style, shooting for that style, right? Again, I have a comfort with that, and it takes a while. It takes a while to get there, and then also it takes a while of me working with you. Right, to get there. So it's difficult if you have to work with someone else, if they don't fully understand that, then there's this level of trust. And that can be difficult, right? So my second shooter for weddings has been my brother since day one. I haven't had another second shooter, and there's just immediate trust, right? It's my brother. So it's easy for me to tell him like, hey dude, do this, do this, do this, do this. And he knows, cool, that's what I got to get done. How do you approach handling that with other people? And think of it more, I guess, as a way to kind of showcase, right, when we're talking about someone who's coming into, like, let's say someone's like, hey, Will, I want to work with you. Like, cool, man. How would you approach that?
I have a really fast, actually, this is probably the fastest answer I have for this. If you can't answer why am I shooting this, don't fucking hit record.
Don't hit record.
Every shot.
Like, what's the point?
Yeah. If at any point, if you were shooting something and I go, why are you shooting that?
Yeah.
And you don't have an answer.
Yeah. Stop shooting.
There's no reason.
Yeah. I mean, that's a good point.
Like,
unless if someone can say to you like, oh, I was thinking maybe this, and you might go, okay, maybe.
Even if I say, oh, I don't fucking like that.
Right.
No, have an answer. If you have an answer, fine.
Cool. I'll take it. Maybe I'll use that. Yeah.
But if you're, I can give you a perfect example. I won't say who, but I remember there was one time I had a second shooter, and there was like a champagne glass, and he was just shooting the champagne glass and the bubbles coming up. Yeah. And I was like, "Why are you shooting that?" Yeah. And he was like, "Well, it's champagne.
Champagne.
Fuck champagne. I don't give a fuck. Yeah. Like, I don't care.
I need more.
There's champagne at every wedding. Right. At every party. Yeah. At every fucking bat mitzvah, at every event in the world, like
everything that's
any
celebrated
event that has alcohol, there's champagne.
Right.
Fuck the champagne.
Right.
I don't care about the champagne. What does the champagne say about these two? What does the champagne say about this relationship? Yeah. What does the champagne say about this bridal prep, this party, this moment in time? Right. It says nothing.
Unless the response could be, well, you know, her father owned this winery and then they made champagne from, and then you'd be like, okay, maybe
then
there's
film the label that makes it relevant.
Cool, right.
But the glass and the liquid, I don't give a shit. It's so glass and liquid. That's all it is. It's not a story. There's nothing there.
No. And we kind of talked about that too, right? We keep referencing like car rides. When we have car rides, we just talk about all this stuff, right? Whether it be music or art or just production of video. So in the cooking world, to kind of bring someone into the kitchen, right? What do? You have them make an omelet. Yeah. And I referenced that too in season 2. It was like, make an omelet. And that's, correct me if I'm wrong, it's like because you're able to test to multiple levels, right? Like your efficiency, your ingredients, your style, the texture, right? Consistency.
Well, it's finesse.
It's everything. It's finesse. It's everything you would want a cook to do.
It's finesse.
Yeah.
Do you have the whole thing? Do you have the whole package? Make it. If you can make an omelet, right? You got the whole package. You can
basic, simple omelet.
Yeah. Yes.
And then what were we talking about? What were we saying? Make a commercial, right? Oh no, wait.
If someone asks for a job,
so talking about video now.
Take the most boring thing in your home, and make a video out of it.
Make it interesting, or just make a video out of it.
Yeah, tell me a story about the most boring, inanimate object in your home. Yeah, you can bring in models, you can bring in light, do whatever you gotta do, but just like we've made videos about rug mats. Yep. Not even rugs. No. The mat that holds a rug in place. Yeah.
You know, pretty just like
as boring and
right. But you have to be able to do that. What's your story behind that. So I think for not only, you know, we were kind of saying that as far as like people like positioning like, hey, I want to work with you. Cool. Give me a video about something that is boring, right? And make it not boring. But even for those that are just curious about getting into shooting video, I think that's your challenge. That's your task. You're at home, you have a camera, cool. You could make a job. Give yourself the challenge of saying, how can I take this water bottle and make it interesting? What can I do creatively to make that interesting and make it my own, right? Yeah, so I think that's kind of an interesting thing because it seems so easy and so simple. You're like, oh, well, yeah, of course I could do that. It's like, no, seriously, do it.
So can you?
Do it,
can
right.
you, though? Can you make it engaging? That's the thing.
Right. What angles do you use? What cuts do you use? Like, how are you approaching this? Because I've even seen you. So we've again, you know, we spent a lot of time in here. There was one video that we watched online, and we both agreed that it was, let's call it subpar, right? So we watched the video, you know, because you just constantly, you know, we would sit here and we would constantly just ingest, you know, content, right, to be inspired or just to kind of, you know, reflect on.
Yeah.
And
but I want to say, I think that was the first time I think you recognized I was good at my job.
Well, not even that, but
like,
specifically,
I've never seen, like, you've never given me a high five on my work until that time.
Up until that point, I was like, Will's a little sketch.
I've made like 40 wedding videos like, at that point.
One time I give you credit.
Yeah.
But no.
One time you were like, all right, high five.
No, because and specifically with editing, and I want to bring that up because it was one of those things that we watched this video and we both agreed it was not a great edit, right? So then you were like, I could edit that better in like 2 minutes. So I was like, oh yeah? And you're like, yeah.
No. All right.
And you said like, give me the video
real
link.
time. Let's do it real time. Because
Yeah.
I was like, set a timer for 15 minutes.
You did. Yeah,
And
we did.
the quote was, I'm going to mouth fuck that video.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, that's aggressive.
Sure,
But
sure.
that's what I said. I'm like, no, I'm gonna fucking murder this thing. I'm like, set a timer for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And I will make big. But the thing was too. We saw this video. It was like a long. We agreed it was too long.
It was too long. Yep. And that was kind of the base.
I saw a story in there.
Yep.
That was just told
Unnecessarily too long.
They just didn't tell the story properly, right?
Nope.
So I downloaded it. I ripped it off the internet.
Literally, in that 15-minute time, part of that was, you know, ripping the footage, right? Just doing a screen capture of it. Mm-hmm. You took the music as well. Like, you grabbed all of it, popped it into Final Cut, and did, you know, what was, I don't know, maybe it was like a 3-minute long video, something like that. And you did it in whatever it was, 60 seconds, 30 seconds.
It was like
a minute, I think.
A minute.
Yeah. And you nailed it. You told the story that needed to be told.
I made a completely new story.
You did, because you made an efficient story, and then I remember, and then a high five, and I was like, shit, damn. And what was most impressive was that, like, I thought in my mind, like, oh, I could probably make this better. But then I watched what you did, and I was like, I wasn't going to do that. No, I was like, damn, right on. And that's cool because that there's something to that, right? Is that, you know, we go back to the conversation I had with Robert Norman where it's like, everyone's a photographer. Okay, cool. Everyone's a photographer. Everyone's a videographer. Everyone's a cinematographer, right? Everyone's a DP. Everyone's an editor. No, we're not. And it's this small little attention to detail of overanalyzing things constantly to kind of really find those little bits that at the end of the day, you're telling a story. How do you tell an efficient story? It's not with fancy transitions. It's not with color grading. It can be, but it's cuts that tell the story properly. I host a series of workshops and classes here at the studio. So for those that are interested, check them out. So we were talking about practice. You got to practice, like anything else, right? Like cliche, practice makes perfect. Or what did someone say? Practice doesn't make perfect. Practice makes permanent. Mm-hmm. So you can't perfect something, but it becomes this permanency, right? And almost to a fault, like practice. If you practice the same thing poorly, you're making that a permanent thing, right? Like whether it be working out, right? If you practice how to bench press poorly, you're going to perfect how to poorly bench press, and you're going to mess yourself up. So with that, right? It's just practice. And then I think another good thing too, and this is something that I have considered, and I think we've talked about this too, was critiquing, right? Putting your work out there and hearing what people say, but almost inviting constructive criticism and feedback.
Yeah. I mean, this is one thing I've always done too, is I've always wanted to surround myself by people that were better than me.
Yep. Because they're not just going to yes you. They're not just going to be like, oh, Will, you're amazing.
Echo chamber is useless.
Yeah.
You know, you don't, and we talked about this earlier, the beauty of mistakes.
Yep.
The beauty of errors.
Yeah.
Is you're only going to, like, that's where the progression is.
That's where you grow.
That's not, like, in all this shit you did right,
yeah,
that's not how you grow.
No.
You did it.
Right. Cool.
Where'd
so did everyone
up?
else. Yeah.
Like, so now, like, where your mistakes were, those are where solutions are. That's where you can find solutions, and that's where you can really grow.
Yeah.
That's where growth happens, in your mistakes.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like, you have to, like, welcome errors, and you have to welcome, with that, criticism.
Yep, for sure.
And and don't be on the defense.
Nope.
Take the criticism.
Listen to what people have to say.
Take it in.
Yeah. If I mean, to your point, like, you surround yourself with people that are better than you, so you should value their opinion, right? So if they're giving you feedback like, hey, Will, this is cool, but I noticed the thing you did here, don't just be like, oh, well, I did it because of blah, blah, blah. It's like, oh, shit, good point. Or still defend your work. And that was something I learned in school.
You can defend your work.
Yeah.
You can justify your reasoning for it.
But know when you got to take your lumps.
Criticism, too, at the same time. Understand that maybe, and also, too, your justification is only that. It's justification.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't mean it's right and doesn't mean it's still a good shot.
Right.
You know, we talked about this a while ago, where I went to a retreat and someone was doing a seminar.
Yeah.
And it was about the power of words, which is great.
Yeah.
And I believe in the power of words. And she showed a photo. And this was like a photo exhibition where people were showing their work. And it was voted the least favorite of the group.
Okay.
But then there were words attached to it. And then it became everyone's favorite. And I chimed in with, still a shitty photo. It fucking was.
Yeah.
It's still a shitty photo.
Yeah.
Like, the words are beautiful.
Cool.
Great.
Yeah.
Photo still sucked.
Yep.
So that's what I mean. Like, you can justify all you want.
Right.
That's fine. That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fine.
But it should stand alone.
But the thing is, though, too, if you like unanimously,
right,
it's not good.
Right.
Just work on it.
Right. If you produce a movie and everyone gives it, Rotten Tomatoes gives it 1 star, right? Or 1 tomato, whatever they call it.
Probably a shitty movie.
Probably a shitty movie. Even if the director's like, well, you guys didn't understand the interpretation of the thing that I was trying to achieve. And it's like, I don't need to know. You shouldn't have to tell me that.
Maybe you did it wrong.
Right.
Maybe
you were supposed to explain that to me in the story that you filmed. You shouldn't have to then re-explain it to me after the fact. So I think that's there's a lot of validity to that, in that you should be able to tell your story with your image, or tell your story with your video, or tell your story with a song, and then have that conveyed, and people emote from that.
But I want to go back to the criticism too, because I think, like, I really think people don't understand the value of it.
Yeah.
Enough. I mean, it really, man, it can fucking hurt.
And constructive criticism.
Yeah, I mean, there's being a jerk, and then there's, I mean, okay, look, we have a group chat. Mm-hmm. I won't say all the people in our group chat.
Sure.
But we have our group chat.
Yeah.
We're pretty rough on one another.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's being conservative. Like, we're pretty brutal.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I mean, I'm hard pressed to find one person in our group that hasn't grown from our criticisms.
Right.
And I mean, as far as I'm concerned, if I put something in our group chat, I know what I'm in for, but I also don't want to let any of you guys down.
Right.
I know that, like, I have to put my best foot forward if I'm even going to put myself out there in that group.
Yeah.
Because I know the authenticity I'm going to get. I know you'll probably be a little bit nicer, but I know Matt is going to be a fucking, I call that one. I know Matt is going to be a fucking animal just for the sake of it. Like, sure. But usually that fucking guy's never wrong.
Right. You value that. Right.
No, I value his opinion. I mean, and also too, like, I've showed him videos and he's like, I don't know about the song. And I had to be like, dude, I don't think you get it because of the pacing.
Yeah.
And to some degree, I don't think he does. But a lot of times, too, with imagery and color, he absolutely does.
He knows it. Yep.
You know?
Yeah, and not just, oh, that's awesome, or, oh, that sucks. Okay, it sucks. Why does it suck?
Exactly.
Give me that. Oh, it's amazing. Cool. Why is it amazing?
Yes.
That I'm such a proponent of that. It's putting yourself out there. It's sharing your work. It's like we were even talking about it earlier, is that, yeah, it's difficult to do that, but you take that risk of showcasing who you are and hopefully eventually defining your style through your own learning experiences, your own failures, and then also feedback from others. Yeah, I think all of that combined is what really essentially helps someone as an artist.
And all the people I like, I mean, even if I don't really like their work, if I think they're doing their own thing,
yeah,
I like them. And
respect.
I follow them and I respect them. And
yep.
like, yeah.
You're being original? Cool.
Yeah, I mean, I give, innovators. Like, I keep on saying innovators, not imitators. But, like, I give all the credit to innovators. And the people that I'm really, like, not into are just the people that, like, imitate the popular people.
Yep.
That's
easy. It's easy to do that.
Yeah, it's cheap, low-hanging fruit. You know what I mean? Like,
and then
anyone can do. Who the fuck can't do that?
Right.
You know?
Right.
Everyone does it.
Yeah.
That's the oldest trick in the book.
Right.
What does Target do?
Yeah.
They go to the highest fashion people and they recreate it at a more affordable level. Like,
yep.
That is the oldest trick in the book.
Yeah.
And then when I see like photographers and cinematographers do it, I'm like, that's so lame.
Right, because then you're only ever keeping up with what everyone else is doing versus separating yourself and being you. I mean, it's okay to be inspired, but you should still want to be you and true to what you're doing and not always just doing what everyone else is doing.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, that's got to be exhausting. Over an extended period of time, it's got to be exhausting to constantly keep up with.
But they'll never
just being
last.
trendy. Just
but
being
they'll never
trendy.
Last.
Yeah, that's true too.
They weed themselves out.
Right.
They weed themselves out.
And then what's even going to happen too is that because you're doing it, what everyone else is doing what everyone else is doing. So yeah, you're going to get burnt out and you'll be like, well, what the hell am I freaking doing? And just stopping with it. So the other thing that I wanted to talk about too was, so we've talked about how you went to school for art. Your father was an artist. You were riding BMX, which is, I would define that as an art. There's an art to that. There's a style to that.
But there was an art culture. There was an art culture to it. You're
a chef, cinematographer. You also are a musician. So you talked about gigging, right? You were talking about playing in bands. So you play bass. Primarily. I mean, I know you know how to make your way around on a guitar too. Do you play other instruments? No, you played the saxophone? Saxophone. Was that the first instrument you played?
Yep.
Sax.
So I played saxophone when I was 9 years old.
Dope.
And that was my main
like school band kind of thing?
Yeah. That's how I can read. That's the reason I can read music, even with bass. And like that's why I know music theory and all like your rudiments, right?
Yeah. Was your father also a musician? Did he play any music?
I like said he can sing.
Oh, okay. So he had pipes.
He had nothing but he had so much rhythm.
Yeah.
That dude was just nothing but timing. He can dance his ass off. He can sing his ass off. It's so funny. It's funny because you called him an artist, and he really was. But he was just. I mean, his job was he did foundation. I mean, all the buildings in New Haven, like he did all the foundation for that, all the rebar, all the concrete.
Yeah.
And he was such like an on the job site, like just old school Italian, Vietnam vet, burly, crazy motherfucker. Like you would never know that guy was an artist,
right?
Like like that he had this beautiful soul that could just draw anything and could sing. It was amazing. But no, he was very musical. I don't know. I wanted to play music. Instruments were just really cool to me. And my mom is someone that's like, you're not quitting. My mom is like that workhorse.
So you got the sax. You're going to learn this instrument. You're going to put in your all.
And like after like 2 months, I was like, I don't know if I want to do it. She's like, no.
You're doing it.
You signed up. You're doing it. That's it.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right. And she was the person like, if you're into something, but I ended up being really into it. Like,
yeah.
I mean, the saxophone's a sexy instrument, man. Like,
sure,
saxophone is dope.
Yeah, it is.
But and my mom is the type of person where she was like, if you do something, you give it 100%.
Yeah.
You don't have to be the best, but if you're not the best, that's not because you didn't give 100%.
Right.
She's that, and that's where I get that mentality from.
Yeah.
Where like I don't have that like, and you know it. We spent a lot of time to get like, you know me. If I do something, I'm giving.
You're doing it.
Everything.
Yeah.
And I've said it after weddings. I'm like, if you have any energy left after a wedding,
yeah,
you didn't work hard enough.
Yeah.
Like you should be fucking dead.
Yeah.
At the end of that, like you did not work hard enough if you're not dead.
Yeah.
And like that stems from my mom being just a.
Yeah. And I mean, that's not, I mean, when you think about that, right, just work ethic in general, like work, like don't just, especially if it's something that you have the ability to do, that's a passion, right? That's a hobby. Like if you're able to be paid for your passion, yeah, work. Don't, work. I mean, again, it's a job, but yeah, work.
But no, yeah, work.
Like put it in there.
Job. Yeah. Like,
So as a kid at 9 or 10, you're playing the sax.
I'm playing the sax. I'm playing. I'm practicing every day.
Cool.
I'm working hard.
All your scales, all that, everything. Cool.
And then I meet. Do you remember Goldie Libro Music?
No.
They used to be in New Haven, in North Haven. So it's called Goldie Libro Music, and the owner is Sal Libro. Sal he played with the Les Brown band. The Les Brown Band.
Okay.
Charlie Parker, Harry Mancini. I mean, he played with all the greats.
Yeah.
All that like old school 40, like that big band.
Yeah.
He always had first chair alto and first chair clarinet. He was the highest paid guy in the band.
Dope.
Because he was first chair for 2 instruments.
Damn.
So he would stand up and solo for clarinet and alto sax.
Yeah, that's dope.
Guy was bad, dude.
Yeah.
All he did was play. This is amazing. I was his last student that he ever took on.
Oh, cool.
And I didn't meet him at the music shop, which all of the students went. I went to his home in West Haven every Thursday. So you don't even, you've never known this.
No.
This is a new thing for you. So with minor exceptions.
Yeah.
Every Thursday for 11 years.
Jesus.
I went to this dude's home.
Damn.
And got lessons and played music for it was 1 hour and it was $20.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Sure.
But it was, and then once I got my license, I got my driver's license.
Yeah.
I'd show up 20 minutes early. We'd hang out.
Right.
We'd play for an hour.
Yeah.
We'd hang out for an hour.
Yeah.
Everywhere we went, he called me his boy.
Yeah.
Like that guy
That's
was
cool.
my second grandfather. That guy was I miss Sal more than Sal Libro. I miss that guy more than anybody.
Yeah.
He was the best. That guy taught me everything about music.
That's awesome.
And when I got
like a true musician too.
Oh, that guy was a musician amongst musicians, man.
Yeah.
I mean, that guy's a fucking music legend.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say it. I mean, his son will never hear this, but his son's a fucking prick.
Sure.
He died, right?
Okay.
I loved this man.
Yeah.
I adored him. Like I said, he was like my own family, and I was like, when I mean like $200 shy, I was like fucking $200.
Yeah.
Really, $200. He died, and his horn was for sale.
Oh.
His son, which I think was kind of a dick move to sell his horn anyway.
Sure. Yeah.
But he was selling his horn.
Yeah.
And like, you know, yeah, I don't really play all that time, but like,
that's
Sal
huge.
was like another dad to me.
Right.
So like, I really wanted his horn.
Yeah.
And I was $200 shy. Like, I'm like, yo, dude, I don't know what it was, but it was like really small.
Right.
And he was like, yeah, but this other guy's got it, so I'm gonna sell it to him.
The guy that has no connection or any meaning to this at all.
Yeah, and I'm like, yo,
he's gonna get
your
it.
dad actually loved me.
Right.
Like, what the fuck, man?
Right. Yeah, that sucks. That hurts. Yeah.
Nah, dude, his kid's a prick.
Oh, yeah, that sucks.
It's funny. I say kid. he's like 60 something. I mean, like he's not like a young guy.
Right,
like,
right.
Still, like, dude, he's such a fucking prick, man. Like,
yeah.
Oh, that bothered me so much. He didn't let me buy his horn.
I can. So I actually have. So my grandfather on my mother's side, he was the artist. Like he was the one that kind of spread the gene throughout most of my extended family. Most of the people on my mother's side. My father's side doesn't have a big family. There's no cousins there, but on my mother's side, there's like 30 cousins, and most of them are musically inclined or artistically inclined. That came from my grandfather, right? And he had this little tin, he had his pencils in there, he had his charcoals in there, and like that was handed down to my cousin, my eldest cousin Matt, who I look up to as an artist and have since like day one. He actually works as a toy designer now. It's dope. Anyway, he gave that to me like one Christmas, and I remember being so moved at the idea of this was Grandpa's, like these were his tools, right? For being an artist. And again, a guy who was he was an artist, but like, working on the job site, like not a, an artist, right? But he was
artist.
Right. Yeah. But, and so it was cool. And then now I have this, and it's like, there is such a value to that. Like you couldn't so it just makes me think of that. And that's a dick move, man. It's like, dude, what are you doing? That's a dick move. But yeah, there is, I don't touch it. It sits in a box and I leave it, and it's cool. It's fine. There is something to that. And even, when I think about, old cameras, like I have some people's old cameras. These are not my cameras. I have no connection to them. I'm sure some other people have a deeper connection to these cameras. Yeah. They're in my possession. So be it, whatever. But it's, when you think about that, the history of that artistry, of that musicianship, obviously you have those moments, you have those memories. That's super powerful. That's super valuable. I
just think about that horn that he had, man. That thing has been around the globe.
Right.
Like the globe.
Just the rooms that it's been in, the energy that it's been surrounded with. I still remember
the smell.
Yeah.
That thing, like that,
patinaed to no end. I'm sure.
It was dead. It was no, it wasn't. There wasn't patina. It was just. It was flat. The whole thing. It was so old, man.
Yeah.
Like just dead.
That's nuts.
And
man.
this thing had been played.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
This thing had been played
that's all you
in
did.
Every country and every continent of
even playing it with you for 11 years.
Dude,
and then some.
This guy would give me books, like the music books to take home. He's like, "Yo, check this out. I'm on the cover."
Yeah.
No big deal. Like it's like an old photo of a band of like 80 people, and there was him, like right there.
That's cool.
No, he was. Not only was he a great musician, I mean, he just had like the great music stories. I mean, it was just the best, and it was funny too. He was the guy that, everyone was like on tour and they'd be out partying, and he'd be the guy that was still practicing.
Right.
It's like just that guy.
Just straight musician.
Just always about the music, never about the lifestyle. Always about the music,
the actual
crowd,
craft,
and entertainment, and making people happy.
Yeah.
He was a good dude.
A performer.
He was a performer, man.
Yeah, that's cool.
Absolutely. Taught himself how to play piano. He loved that when I picked up the bass.
Right.
Oh, and talk about this. All right, so this is how I actually picked up bass. This is a really, really quick story. So playing horn so much, I was playing in the jazz band at high school.
Yeah.
And we were playing Chameleon by Herbie Hancock.
Okay.
Dum 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 dum.
Yep.
That classic riff. We didn't have a keys player. There's a bass player, Ryan Waugh, who was great bass player. He got to play that part, and he did it like slap style.
Okay.
Like, boom, 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 boom. I heard that. I was like, that's the coolest motherfucker I've ever heard in my life.
I want to do that.
I was like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah.
Like, I want to play that. 2 weeks later, I had a bass.
You bought a bass. Yeah, that's funny. And isn't that cool how you could just hear a sound and be like, yeah, I want to do that.
Yo, and I was like,
I want to do that.
Because at that time, I've been playing saxophone a long time, and I was, I knew something about me. I was musically inclined.
Yeah.
But I knew I was never going to stand out as a sax player.
Right.
I saw people with like I don't know what it was, but like I just knew I was never going to be like a great sax player.
Yeah.
You know, or I didn't want to be either.
Right.
But I wanted to still be really. I wanted music.
Right.
I still wanted another instrument, but I just felt that like sax I was never going to stand out. I didn't really know how to solo. That was one thing that like Sal never like really got into. Like he was so much like scale, sheet music.
Yeah. Versus improv.
And like you know,
Right.
and he really did teach me jazz, but he didn't really teach me like the improv of jazz.
Right. So then being able to take that over into that
so I
bass
kind of
spectrum.
just wanted like a new instrument, and
Yeah.
you know, and like you've heard me play a million times. I mean, like I can
dude. You know what you're doing on a bass.
Yeah, I can solo over a lot of stuff, and like that's. I don't know. Like that just felt more natural to me. It was a really, really easy progression too.
Yeah.
It's a two-handed instrument.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's
all the music theory comes right over scales, everything. Like it's.
I mean, I had to read a new type of saxophone treble clef, and
Right.
You know, that's bass clef, but it's only 2 notes difference. It's not really that.
But
hard.
even
like,
still, I would imagine a lot of it too. You're playing it by ear. Literally, that phrase of "Hey, play it by ear."
But also too, even though the notes are different on the sheet,
yeah,
the actual functions are the same. I mean,
Right.
it's like, you know, quarter notes are quarter notes. It doesn't
Right.
change. It's just, you know, what would be a G is a B.
Right.
That's the only difference. You know, it's not. So I can still read sheet music fine, and I can still, you know.
right. Just do a little transposing.
Yeah, it's funny. Like we've talked about it. Like I'm the most competent musician you'll probably never hear. Like it's like I don't play in bands.
But even that,
I don't jam with people. I don't, you know.
I mean, back to what you were saying about what your mom instilled in you is like, you know, like put it all in, like know,
be all in.
know your craft, like know it. And I like to pride myself on that enough where like I know a good amount about a lot of things. Like I know enough, especially the things that I'm passionate about. Like I know enough to be well versed in it, and also enough for me to feel comfortable and continue to be driven by whatever that is. Like there's still, especially when you think about music, like there's still so much that like I don't know about music theory, but then when I can, like you can still constantly learn about that. Even just not the other day, this was probably a couple weeks ago. I was talking to a pianist, and he basically said like, hey, yeah, if you ever want to form like a major chord, right, just basically break down the scale, right, your intervals, right, your whole half, right, like being able to break all that down. And he's like, yeah, just form. That's how you form a scale on the piano. I was like, or a major chord on the piano. I was like, oh yeah. And it's like I knew that, but I didn't know it. But the way that he broke it down and explained it to me, I was like, oh, cool. So now like I just futz around and find all of my major chords on the piano. So it's just cool to constantly be driven to like want to learn. Like I still want to learn piano like in small little bits. I'm never going to be a pianist. I'm just never. Guitar is where I would go to first, but being able to know how to do that on a piano, like I love that. Yeah. It's fun. Yeah. And I think that like if I could kind of just to summarize and to wrap up, because we're running. Where are we running? We're running over an hour and a half, which isn't a bad thing. But basically, I think what I wanted to make out of this podcast, I think this episode really summarizes well, is that everything is art. And in the things that you've experienced, there's been art as this backbone for all of them. And for those watching, for those listening, I think that, you know, hopefully you get inspired by this stuff, and hopefully you're kind of exposed to these things to know that.
You know, so here's a point that I kind of want to make too. And I talked about this earlier today. It was actually funny. One of my like friends is older than me. His daughter, who's a kid in school, is doing a podcast about artists.
Love it.
And she called me today, and we were talking to some stuff. And
that's dope.
And just one thing I was talking about too, and I feel like this happens a lot in our industry, or I should just say, like, you know, when people are down and out, and when they need inspiration, they keep on going to their own industry to be inspired. You know, if you're a photographer, you go to other photos.
Yeah.
I think what people need to do more is to go to other mediums of art forms, to other facets of art, and dissect what they do and their process and how they got to where they wanted to be with whatever art they made. Yeah. And then maybe look into that and then be inspired.
For your inspiration.
I feel that sometimes art And creativity is almost negates itself, because creativity is a very broad thing. It's just something where it's like, we're going to be creative. It's out there,
super open-ended,
right? But I think a lot of times people narrow it down to just their one thing.
Yeah.
I'm a filmmaker, so if I need inspiration, I should go watch movies.
Right.
I should go, whatever. That's the inspiration for how I shoot came from Jaco Pastorius.
Yeah.
And the rules he made, who's a musician,
right,
who's a bass player.
Yeah.
And the rules he made about his playing, and I adopted that to my filmmaking.
Yeah.
I was inspired by the fact that he set limitations to give himself a style. And I was like, maybe that would be something I can put into my operation. Yeah. I'm going to give myself limitations. And this.
Yeah.
I don't know if I really want to say it.
Say it.
But fine, fuck it. No, it's fine. But I for the most part, my rig is a 50 millimeter lens.
50, dude.
And it never changes.
50.
No matter how tight or how big my environment is, I shoot on a 50.
Yeah.
And that forces me to think more and work more and analyze more. And I get more creative shots that way. And I'm more fearless, because if I have to get close, I have to get close.
You gotta get close.
I can't just slap on a 135 anymore and just stand exactly where it was.
Right.
I literally have to step forward and get right there. And to be transparent, what I have to do is I have to be a better cinematographer. Say at a wedding. I'm just saying,
sure.
like a wedding.
Sure.
I have to just be closer and more of a person and more of a professional to the bride, or whoever I'm filming,
right?
Because now I'm inches from her
close.
face.
Yeah, you can't stand in the corner in the shadows.
Yeah, but I have to make sure I'm still invisible. So I just have to distract her with my words and my presence, and then film, but I'm still only inches away.
Right.
That only makes me a better video journalist and a better cinematographer, because I can be that close, I can be that fearless.
Yeah.
But I've given myself those limitations, so I can't go, and you can't go back. If you're gonna make that decision, you just got to do it.
Do it.
So, but what I'm saying is, I think a lot of people just go to their own medium for inspiration, when I think you should go venture out elsewhere and see what that can bring and see what that can do for you.
Agreed.
I think that would be really, really beneficial for all mediums, for all art, across all the board, for painters, for photographers, for sculptors, to check out other mediums and not just their own. If anything, I feel like just going to your own medium would be discouraging.
Yeah.
Because you see people, in a place that you want to be and where you aren't.
Right.
Just go to another place and see what they're doing and get inspired. And I feel like people feel like they can't do that. I've always said, if Michelangelo was alive today, people would say you got to hone in and do one thing.
Right.
Yeah, you're doing too much. You can't do that. Do one thing.
Right. No,
dude. I'm the best sculptor in the world. I'm the best painter in the world. I'm the best fucking theorist in the world.
That's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah. I'm gonna do all these things.
We'll do it.
Fuck off. But do you know what I mean? Where it's I think people have that kind of thing where it's well, I'm a photographer. I got to look to photography.
Right.
No, you don't.
No.
Watch a TV show. Get inspired. I don't know. Do something, but don't just go to photography and get inspired.
I think that's a good way to end it.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to end it too.
Dope. Well, thanks, dude.
Happy to do it.
Let's go take some pictures.
Yeah. Dope. I look like a bag of shit. No, dude. I fucking worked all day. I'm tired. 2 beers and 2 apple Ciroc in.